consultancy.
How do you, what do you call,
We have രണ്ട് upper and lower രണ്ട് റിസർവെയർ വെച്ചിട്ട് നമ്മൾ ഓഫ് പീക്ക്, അതായത് സോളാർ യൂസ് ചെയ്തുകൊണ്ട് പകല് നമ്മൾ പമ്പ് ചെയ്യും, പീക്കിൽ നമ്മൾ തിരിച്ചെടുക്കും.
My question is, height difference എവിടുന്ന് കിട്ടി? അങ്ങനെ ഒരു സ്ഥലം ഉണ്ടോ അവിടെ?
ഉണ്ട്. ഇവിടെ ഉണ്ട്. ഹട്ട എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞ സ്ഥലം, ഹട്ട. ദുബായിൽ നിന്ന് ഏകദേശം 150 കിലോമീറ്റർ. ദുബായിൽ നിന്ന് 150 കിലോമീറ്റർ ഹിൽ ഏരിയ ഉണ്ട്. ഓൾറെഡി അവിടെ ഒരു ഡാം ഓൾറെഡി ഉണ്ട് അവിടെ.
Okay. Then it's okay, fine. Okay. Otherwise, ഈ പറഞ്ഞ ഇത് നടക്കില്ല. ഓൾറെഡി ഡാം ഉള്ള സ്ഥലത്ത്. Okay, fine.
Geography important ആണല്ലോ ഈ പമ്പ് ഹൈഡ്രോ സ്റ്റോറേജിന്. ജിയോഗ്രഫിക്കലി ഓക്കെ ആയിരിക്കണം സൈറ്റ്.
ജിയോഗ്രാഫിക്കലി ഓക്കെ ആണ്. അത് വിത്തിൻ 2 years നമ്മൾ കമ്മീഷൻ ചെയ്യത്.
Very good.
അപ്പൊ ഞാൻ നേരത്തെ ഞാൻ ഈയിടെ അനിലിനെ കണ്ടായിരുന്നു കുര്യാക്കോസെ.
എവിടെ?
അപ്പൊ അനിലിന്റെ വീട്ടിലൊക്കെ പോയായിരുന്നു ഞാന്.
ശരി.
കായംകുളം. കാരണം എന്റെ മോളെ കല്യാണം കഴിച്ചേക്കണ കായംകുളത്താണ്. അപ്പൊ അനിലിന്റെ വീട്ടിൽ പോയി. അങ്ങനെ പിന്നെ സുധാകരൻ സാറിനെ കാണാൻ പോയി തിരുവനന്തപുരത്ത്. പുള്ളി വല്ലാതെ ഇരിക്കുകയാണല്ലോ.
ഞാൻ അന്ന് സംസാരിച്ചിരുന്നു സുധാകരൻ സാറിന്റെ ഇതിനകത്ത്.
പുള്ളി ഭയങ്കര ഇമ്പ്രൂവ്ഡ് ആണ്. 4 ഓപ്പറേഷൻ നടന്നായിരുന്നു അന്നേ. അപ്പൊ അതില് അതുകൊണ്ട് ഇപ്പൊ സാറ് വളരെ ആക്റ്റീവായിട്ട് പോകുന്നു. നടക്കാനുള്ള ഒരു ബുദ്ധിമുട്ടേ ഉള്ളൂ. ഫിസിയോതെറാപ്പി ഒക്കെ അങ്ങനെ ചെയ്തുകൊണ്ടിരിക്കുന്നു. എന്തായാലും നടന്നുകൊണ്ടിരിക്കുന്നു, കുഴപ്പമില്ല.
മകൻ തിരിച്ചു വന്നോ?
നടക്കുവാണല്ലോ ഇപ്പൊ. മൂവാറ്റുപുഴ യൂണിറ്റ് മീറ്റിംഗ് നടക്കുവാണല്ലോ.
അതെ.
അപ്പൊ അവരെല്ലാരും അവിടെ നിന്നാണ് ജോയിൻ ചെയ്യുന്നത്.
ജയശങ്കറാണ്. ഞങ്ങൾ യൂണിറ്റ് മീറ്റിംഗ് കഴിഞ്ഞ് വന്നു. യൂണിറ്റ് മീറ്റിംഗ് നേരത്തെ ആയിരുന്നു. ഞങ്ങൾ ഒരു 3:30-ക്കാണ് സ്റ്റാർട്ട് ചെയ്തത്. നീണ്ടുപോയി. 6:30 വരെ ഉണ്ടായിരുന്നു.
നിങ്ങളുടെ ഫോട്ടോ ഒക്കെ ഞാൻ കണ്ടു ജയശങ്കറെ. അതാ വീട്ടിലെത്തി വന്നിട്ട്.
അപ്പൊ വീട്ടിലെത്തി.
ഓക്കെ ശരി. അപ്പൊ ഞാൻ എന്തായാലും എന്റെ ഓഡിയോ കട്ട് ചെയ്യാം.
നമുക്ക് ഷൈൻ ഉണ്ടോ? ഷൈൻ ഓക്കെ. നമുക്ക് സ്റ്റാർട്ട് ചെയ്യാം. ഓക്കെ, എല്ലാ എഞ്ചിനീയേഴ്സിനെയും നമ്മുടെ വെബിനാർ പ്രോഗ്രാമിലേക്ക് സ്വാഗതം ചെയ്തു. അപ്പൊ ഇന്നത്തെ സെഷൻ കൈകാര്യം ചെയ്യുന്നത് നമ്മുടെ പ്രിയപ്പെട്ട അനിൽ സാറാണ്. അനിൽ സാറിനെ പ്രത്യേകിച്ച് പരിചയപ്പെടുത്തേണ്ട കാര്യമില്ല. നേരത്തെ തന്നെ സാറ് നമുക്ക് ജീവിതചര്യയെ പറ്റി ഒരു സെഷൻ കൈകാര്യം ചെയ്തിരുന്നു, യോഗയൊക്കെ ആയിട്ട്. ആ പ്രോഗ്രാം നമുക്ക് എല്ലാവർക്കും ഇഷ്ടപ്പെട്ടിരുന്നു. ഇപ്രാവശ്യം സാറ് റിന്യൂവബിൾ എനർജിയെ പറ്റിയാണ് സംസാരിക്കുന്നത്. എനിക്ക് തോന്നുന്നു സാറിന്റെ PhD റിസർച്ച് ആയിട്ട് ബന്ധപ്പെട്ട പോയിന്റ്സും ഇതിനകത്ത് ഇൻക്ലൂഡ് ആണ് എന്ന് ഞാൻ വിചാരിക്കുന്നു. കഴിഞ്ഞ ശരിക്കും സുധാകരൻ സാറിന്റെ സെഷൻ കൈകാര്യം ചെയ്തപ്പോഴാണ് സാറുമായിട്ട് ഇങ്ങനെ ഒരു ഇന്ററാക്ഷൻ നടന്നതും ഇങ്ങനെ ഒരു വെബിനാർ ചെയ്യുന്നതിനെ പറ്റി സംസാരിച്ചത്. സാർ ഇമ്മീഡിയറ്റ് ആയിട്ട് അത് എഗ്രി ചെയ്യായിരുന്നു. അപ്പോൾ സാറിന് എല്ലാ അസോസിയേഷൻ മെമ്പേഴ്സിന് വേണ്ടിയിട്ടും എൻ്റെ വ്യക്തിപരമായ പേരിൽ വെബിനാർ കണ്ടക്ട് ചെയ്യാൻ വേണ്ടിയിട്ട് ഹാർദമായി സ്വാഗതം ചെയ്യുന്നു.
തുടങ്ങാമോ?
സ്റ്റാർട്ട് ചെയ്യാം സാറേ. സാറ് ഷെയർ ചെയ്തോളൂ.
തുടങ്ങട്ടെ.
ഷെയർ ചെയ്തോളൂ സാറേ. കാണാം സാറേ, കാണാം.
ഓക്കെ, താങ്ക് യു
സാർ. സ്ലൈഡ് ഷോ കൂടി ഒന്ന് ഓണാക്കിയാൽ
കാണാമല്ലോ അല്ലേ?
യെസ്, പെർഫെക്റ്റ്.
ഓക്കെ, താങ്ക് യു. Good evening, everybody. Good evening, friends. Today's topic is strategies to integrate more renewable energy into our electricity grid. For this, we have many number of innovative strategies. We have to choose the right strategy combination according to the geopolitical situations, the area. So I'm right away starting with the presentation. Present day grid is characterized by renewable energy production, distributed decentralized generation prosumers are there in the grid, therefore bidirectional power flows causing coordination protection issues. And advantages include reduced losses as generation occurs at load centers. So there is less AT&C losses as generation is occurring at load center. The main challenges: decarbonization is required in all sectors. That is, complete siphoning out of carbon dioxide and associated greenhouse gases from the Earth's atmosphere is required. United Nations Sustainable Development Goals and 21st COP21 Paris Agreement, it required GHG emissions to be brought down to net zero by 2050 to prevent the world from evil effects of climate change hazards. Full decarbonization in all sectors required to achieve net zero, requiring electrification of all sectors, including the hard-to-abate sectors. Hard-to-abate sectors are 4 numbers. That is what literature says. That is steel, iron and steel, then chemical industries, fertilizers, then refineries, cement and stone, that is limestone, cement and limestone industry, aluminum industry. Those are the hard to abate sectors. Then, of course, transportation comes. Transportation is very difficult to decarbonize. The global average ambient temperature to be limited to less than 1.5 degrees Celsius above pre-industrialized levels as of the year 1750. That is one of the terms of Paris Agreement. So a global shift from fossil-based fuels to renewable is a must. Greenhouse gas concentration in the atmosphere as in 2017. Carbon dioxide content is 405.5 parts per million, which is 146% of the pre-industrialized era, that is of 1750. Methane, CH4, it is 1859 parts per billion, which is 257% of the concentration, methane concentration in that upper atmosphere of pre-industrialized era. Nitrous oxide, N2O, which is 329.9 parts per billion, which is 122% of the pre-industrialized era. Global greenhouse gas emissions in 2018 is 45,873.85 million tons of carbon dioxide equivalent, which is again 45.87 gigatons of carbon dioxide equivalent, just a change of unit. Indian emissions in 2018 is 3,374.99 million tons of carbon dioxide equivalent. Global emissions sector-wise, we have manufacturing sector 31%, power sector 27%, agriculture and animal husbandry 19%, transportation 16%, heating and cooling 7%. World's electricity mix, generation mix, sourced from coal, the percentage 36%, the major chunk. Natural gas 23%, hydropower 16%, nuclear 10%, renewables 11%, oil 3%, and others 1%. Problems with variable renewable energy integration into the grid. These are the problems: intermittency, which we know, sun, cloud, wind may not be there, may be there. Variability, again, it's similar to intermittency. PQ issues, that is, variability means as the climatic conditions change from sunny day to less sunny day, the generation is variable. Similarly, wind, intensity of wind changes throughout the season, so variability in wind is there. Variable renewable energy sources also, it's major components of VRE is solar and wind. Power quality issues due to variability and intermittency. Protection issues, again, due to bidirectional flows of from prosumer to grid, from grid to prosumer, etc. RE curtailment, that is, curtailment occurs when RE generation is more for the system to adopt, to contain. So when the generation is more, renewable energy generation has to be cut to suit to the system conditions, power system conditions. This is, 1 plant, 2 plant, 6 plant, etc. A California independent system operator graph with the normal, that is a thick line, blue thick line, is the normalized output considering the entire solar plants. So on a typical day. As can be seen from the dotted lines, it is one of the dotted line, that is the blue line, is 1 plant. Then some other dotted lines are 2 plants, 3 plants, and 6 plants and all. And finally, the blue thick line is the entire solar put together. So that normalized output is more or less of a normal sunny day. Grid flexibility solutions. We can say the buzzwords in modern power system operations, 3 Ds. 1D, first D is decarbonization, that is siphoning out of carbon dioxide from the upper atmosphere. Not only carbon dioxide, all greenhouse gases, methane, then what is that, nitrous oxide, or SF6, sulfur hexafluoride, etc. Those are all the greenhouse gases. So siphoning out them from the upper atmosphere to have complete decarbonization of the atmosphere and the industry is concerned. Digitalization of grid. So when we perform some SCADA systems or advanced communication systems with generation for capturing data, electrical data from generating station to the central control station or load dispatch station or system operator station, that completes the digitalization of generating stations. In transformer, in substations, we can have SAS, substation automation system, IEC 61850 protocol for maintaining digitalization in the transmission. Then for distribution is the most difficult thing. We need to have very wide investment, that is installation of smart meters, advanced metering infrastructure, etc. for digitalization of the distribution sector. So for complete digitalization, for complete RE integration, digitalization of grid is very important. So that way our Ministry of Power's intention of fixing smart meters in every installation, every customer installation, is a welcome step in digitalizing the distribution sector of our grid. Decentralization, which is essentially shifting generation from centralized generating stations to various locations throughout the grid. That is, prosumer concept is coming in decentralization. This, together with electrification of difficult sectors, that is hard to abate sectors, forms the steps to be undertaken in modern power system operation for achieving this complete decarbonization or net zero condition. For deep decarbonization of the power sector, emissions from power sector should be stopped. Fossil-based, for emission for power sector to be stopped, fossil-based generation should be stopped, or rather transformed into renewable-based generation. Carbon dioxide already present in the atmosphere should be absorbed either by natural means or by synthetic transformation. Carbon capture and sequestration, or carbon capture, utilization and storage, etc. are the steps to be done for decarbonization. More and more variable renewable energy power should be integrated into the grid for full decarbonization. Strategic innovations. We are coming to the topic of today. Strategic innovations required to be adopted for enabling more VRE integration, variable renewable energy integration, which are utility scale batteries, renewable power to heat, renewable power to hydrogen, supergrids, pumped hydro storage, PHS, virtual power lines, VPL, dynamic line rating, advanced generation forecasting, aggregators, energy as a service, electric vehicle, smart charging, then Internet of Things, big data, artificial intelligence, etc. All new modern technologies will become innovations in the innovations to be adopted for enabling more VRE integration. Now we'll take up all those content that was present in the last slide one by one. Utility scale batteries. Stationary battery energy storage system, BESS, consists of utility scale batteries of capacity ranging from several megawatt hours to hundreds of megawatt hours. And the major component, 90% of the batteries that are in use today are lithium-ion batteries, so lithium-ion batteries are the most prevalent and mature technology in BESS. BESS, battery energy storage system, increases flexibility in power systems, enabling optimal use of VRE sources like solar PV and wind generation. So whatever energy stored in BESS can be utilized in case of lean wind and solar period. And when excess solar and wind is present, batteries can be charged. And so that way they are synergizing. That is, battery and the VRE are synergizing. So one supporting the other during the other's absence. So batteries have the advantage of geographical and sizing flexibility and can be easily scaled up. That is, we need not have any geographic speciality for the area for battery, for proposing a utility scale battery at a particular point in a substation or something of that sort. That's why it's irrespective of the geographic conditions, we can utilize batteries, and 90% of the batteries are of lithium-ion type. Advantages of battery energy storage systems. Demand-side flexibility solutions to regulate frequency, flexible ramping, black start services can be achieved by BESS. Energy shifting and capacity investment deferral can be achieved by BESS. Transmission and distribution congestion relief could be attained with the help of BESS. Reduced renewable energy curtailment could be attained. Capacity firming, reduced reliance on diesel generators in microgrids. Technical requirements of utility scale battery energy storage system. Hardware, widespread adoption of utility scale batteries in the system. Software, battery management software to protect battery and act as a site controller to implement the charging and discharging algorithms. So battery management software is the one which prevents say unsafe condition in the battery storage system. Renewable power to heat. That is the second innovative strategy. Renewable power to heat refers to technologies that use electricity to generate heat for buildings and industrial processes via Shine, can this video panel be switched off?
Yes, you mean your video, right?
Yeah.
That I'll do.
Because it's playing truant in the in my presentation in between.
Yeah, it's okay now. Is it okay?
If it's possible, it could be switched off.
Yeah, I've switched it off.
How to switch off?
I have done it.
Hide video view. Huh? Okay. Now it's okay.
Yeah, I've done it.
So thank you. Electrification of heating can help decarbonize the power sector when the extra load is supplied with RE and managed smartly. Power to heat systems can help integrate greater shares of VRE by using heat pumps and electric boilers as a source of demand-side flexibility in power system. These renewable power to heat applications come in cool countries, I mean cold weather countries like UK and all, Europe, etc. Power to heat systems help in reducing renewable energy curtailment, increasing flexibility through load shifting, storing energy on large scales, providing grid services via aggregators, increasing self-consumption from local renewable energy-based generation. Key regions where power to heat systems have been used: Canada, China, Japan, the United States, and Europe, Denmark, Germany, Sweden, Switzerland, the UK. Technical requirements for power to heat systems: hardware, heat pumps, boilers for heating systems, pipeline infrastructure for district heating systems, sufficient insulated buildings for effective thermal storage, sufficiently dimensioned hot water storage industry, sufficient technically and economically feasible thermal energy storage technology, metering equipment such as smart meters and or devices built into the storage systems required to provide real-time power consumption and production. Like as regards district heating system, it's something like, heat is generated in a chamber, at a centralized chamber, and is distributed just like our gas or pipe water. Heat is distributed through pipelines, through insulated pipelines to different houses and buildings to keep the building or house in hot condition. That is district heating system. Software, optimization software for heat pump systems that can adjust consumption according to demand, aggregation software with algorithms calculating the optimal operation of each unit, real-time communication between the aggregator and hardware systems, distribution system management software to ensure reliability and safe operation. Then next strategy, renewable power to hydrogen, converting variable renewable energy sources to hydrogen via electrolysis of water or hydrolysis can contribute to power sector transformation in several ways: reducing VRE curtailment, long-term energy storage, providing grid balancing services via electrolyzer, using green hydrogen as a fuel in other sectors, transporting and storing renewable power over long distances as hydrogen. Hope our members will remember our seminar during the last AGB was renewable hydrogen, based on which I have also presented a paper. Power to hydrogen systems. Hydrogen produced by electrolysis of water by splitting it into hydrogen and oxygen. When renewable energy is used in electrolyzers, hydrogen becomes a complementary carrier of renewable energy. Just like our electricity is a carrier of energy. Similarly, hydrogen also becomes a complementary carrier of renewable energy, and hydrogen can be traded in international communities as a form of energy, just like we use coal, oil, etc. in the recent days. Hydrogen produced with excess solar PV and wind power can be stored for later use as a fuel for hard to electrify sectors like transport, industry, and other industrial sectors. Hydrogen produced can be used as a smart source to increase power system flexibility and help to decarbonize the overall economy. Stored hydrogen may enable the efficient distribution of energy across regions, facilitating VRE consumption in areas where it is not available. Power to hydrogen systems, the advantages of power to hydrogen systems: reducing curtailment of excess VRE generation, providing long-term energy storage, providing grid balancing services, supporting sector coupling strategies by increasing use of renewable energy in other sectors as feedstock and as fuels, enabling distribution of renewable power across regions and globally, microgrids and fuel cell applications, which will result in grid independence. Technical requirements of power to hydrogen system: hardware, electrolyzer technology to produce green hydrogen from renewable energy. As hydrogen produced from renewable energy is called green hydrogen. It could be hydrogen to produce hydrogen from renewable energy, but it's essentially green hydrogen. hydrogen fuel cells to convert hydrogen into electricity when required, conversion units to renewable hydrogen convert into CH4 or ammonia, which when done from renewable hydrogen, we get E-ammonia and E-methanol, E-methane, sorry, E-methane. Hydrogen transport vessels such as ships and trucks, transport infrastructure, example, repurposing or retrofitting CNG infrastructure, storage facility for hydrogen in compressed or liquefied form. Since hydrogen can be produced and stored, so we are storing an energy medium, energy carrier. So it's a complementary thing, because now for storing electricity, we need to have high capacity batteries, whereas hydrogen can be compressed and liquefied and stored in a compact form and later converted into electricity when it's required. So that's a very good advantage for hydrogen, and hope hydrogen economy will come soon. Super grids, that is the next renewable strategy for RE integration. Super grids are achieved by interconnecting regions, countries, continents with high capacity power transmission lines with HVDC technology above 500 kV or UHVDC technology above 800 kV power lines to transfer large quantum of power with greater controllability, lower losses, 30 to 40% less than AC, and increased flexibility. Supergrids offer energy reliability, higher availability of generation, decreased cost of electricity across regions, and is particularly relevant for higher integration of VRE and greater system flexibility. Advantages of supergrid: transmission of RE from resource-rich areas to distant demand centers. That is one of the main advantage of supergrid. That is, renewable energy can be generated at renewable-rich area, and it could be transferred through submarine cable or whatever to other areas where renewable energy generation scope for renewable energy generation is less. So that means we can transfer renewable energy from renewable rich area to a renewable poor area. Increased flexibility and reliability in local grids, connecting two onshore points the same country using offshore HVDC link. That's one of the main advantages of super grid. That is, if you are using a cable, HVDC cable, from one end of a country to another end of the country through sea, then land, that is drawing of power line through land area could be reduced. That way, public objection can be reduced to a great extent, and the project can be completed as fast as possible without any litigation and other things. Technical requirements and supergrid projects. Technical requirements: we need to have DC breakers, DC protection systems, high voltage DC cables, DC switch gears, AC-DC interconnection system, inverter and converter combination, etc. European supergrid projects. We have 2 European supergrid projects that is already in pipeline. The Euro-Asia interconnector connecting national electricity grids of Israel, Cyprus, and Crete Attica, Greece through 1,518 kilometers of HVDC subsea cable of 2,000 megawatts. Work already commenced in August 2021 and targeted for completion by 2025. The Euro-Africa interconnector, another 2,000 megawatts electricity interconnector between Egypt, Cyprus, Crete Attica, Greece via 1,707 kilometer HVDC submarine cable, of which expression of interest have been called from through international competitive bidding. European Union is the main facilitator in these 2 interconnector circuits. Pumped hydro storage, which is another strategy. Pumped hydro storage serves as a giant water-based battery or energy storage facility, helping to manage variability of solar and wind. Pumped hydro storage can be used to balance the grid, complement other renewable energy infrastructure and facilitate effective supply shift. Pumped hydro storage has the ability to actively absorb surplus power from the grid, making it a more cost-effective flexibility option than batteries, interconnections, and power-to-X solutions. Power-to-X solutions means power-to-hydrogen or power-to-heat solutions. The global capacity of pumped hydro storage is 161 gigawatts as of 2018. This has to be increased to 300 gigawatts by 2030 and 325 gigawatts by 2050 for complete decarbonization, as is presented by IRENA, that is International Renewable Energy and International Energy Agency. Innovation. The disadvantage with PHS is that PHS cannot be located in any area. That is, we need to have the upper reservoir, lower reservoir facility to pump from the lower reservoir to upper reservoir during off-peak hours and generate in the peak hours. So coupled scheme, VRE plus PHS, that is variable renewable energy and PHS. We can have a floating solar plant installed in the lower reservoir to power the pumping arrangement for pumping water from lower reservoir to higher reservoirs. So that is where the coupled schemes are coming. VRE and PHS are storage on site. Wind or solar PV or both can be installed in the proximity of pumped hydro storage facility. VRE technology is integrated in PHS facility. Floating solar PV installed in the PHS reservoir. Services provided through innovative operations of pumped hydro. Load shifting and reduction of RE curtailment. That is, during high RE generation, the pumping can be undertaken from lower reservoir to the upper reservoir. So that way RE curtailment can be avoided. Frequency regulation, that is during peak hours, the generator can be made to function and frequency can be maintained. Fast and flexible ramping, black start operation, capacity firming when connected to an on-site VRE generator, a reactive support from with synchronous condenser operation. Suppose this can be, that is the pump at the lower reservoir level can be operated as a synchronous condenser to provide the necessary reactive support. Comparison of various storage technologies. Storage technology, we have hydrogen energy storage, batteries, compressed air energy storage system, flywheel effect, flywheels, pumped hydro storage. The efficiency of each of these is there. Hydrogen energy, it is 30 to 45%. Batteries, 70 to 85%. Compressed air energy storage, 45 to 70%. Flywheels, 85 to 100%. And pumped hydro storage, 70 to 85%. The typical storage capacity range for hydrogen energy storage is less than 1 gigawatt. For batteries, less than 100 megawatts. For compressed air energy storage, it is less than 10 megawatts. Flywheels for very small duration gap filling, that is less than 1 megawatt. Pumped hydro, it is 0.1 to 1 gigawatt. Typical discharge times for hydrogen energy, less than 1 hour to 1000 plus hours. For batteries, it's less than 5 hours. Compressed air energy storage, 5 to 100 hours. Flywheels, less than 30 minutes. And pumped hydro storage, 10 to 500 hours. And as regards the maturity of each of these technologies, we have hydrogen energy storage, which is under research, development, and demonstration. Batteries commercialized in the United States of America, United Kingdom, and Australia. Compressed air storage under research, development, and demonstration. Flywheel is also under research and development. Pumped hydro storage is also already commercialized technology. That is as regards the maturity of the technology. Virtual power lines, that is the next strategic innovation. Virtual power lines allow large-scale integration of VRE without grid congestion or redispatch, avoiding any immediate need for large grid infrastructure investments. That's one very important advantage of virtual power lines. So virtual power lines provide 3 gigawatts of installed storage capacity worldwide. That's the current statistics. global needs for network investment deferral could reach 14.3 gigawatts by 2026. So therefore, importance of virtual power lines is underscored in that statement, the third statement. Australia, Italy, France, and the United States are piloting virtual power lines to reduce RE curtailment. Virtual power lines result in reduced curtailment of variable renewable energy due to grid congestions and offer faster and more flexible solutions compared to network strengthening. So a VPL demo is shown in the picture that is shown. So power generation, at the point of generation, we have a supply side storage. And at the point of load, that's the extreme right, we have a demand side storage battery. So we have a supply side battery energy storage system and demand side battery energy storage system. Grid element is typically a transmission line or a sub-transmission line based upon the voltage levels. So when power generation is more, that is renewable energy generation is more, then grid element will not be able to contain entire generation. So normally in a conventional situation, we need to have RE curtailment of generation at the generation point. But in the VPL, in the virtual power line, the excess generation can be stored in the supply side storage energy storage system. And during peak demand, suppose if the grid element is not capable of feeding the entire peak load, then we can we can derive energy from the demand side storage. From the demand side storage, we can derive energy then. And suppose if the grid element is less loaded, but then generation is low, then we can draw during peak time from supply side storage. So that way, the supply side storage and demand side storage system together adds flexibility to the grid element and the power generation, and for meeting the load's peak demand of the load with according to our demand response characteristic of the load. So VPL constituents. VPL consists of utility scale storage systems connected to grid at two key points. That is, one on the supply side, storing surplus generation from renewables that could not be transmitted due to grid congestion. Another on the demand side, charge whenever grid capacity allows and then discharge when needed. Network upgrade challenges and opposition from local community can be avoided with this arrangement. So network upgrade means the transmission line capacity has to be enhanced, which is time consuming. And of course, it's up to you. If you go in for an upgradation of a 66 kV line to 110 kV line, necessary sometimes time is required to undertake the project. So during that particular time, consumer is made to suffer. And also due to opposition from the public due to NIMBY syndrome and all, perhaps the time will get elongated without any bound. So that is another big problem with the upgradation of existing infrastructure. So existing infrastructure upgradation can be deferred with VPL arrangement. That's very important advantage of VPL. Then the next innovation, strategic innovation, dynamic line rating. So in dynamic line rating reduces congestion on power lines, optimizes asset utilization, improves efficiency, and reduces cost. Permits increase solar and wind penetration, reduces VRE curtailment, and makes power generation and dispatch more cost-effective. DLR implementation has yielded 6 to 14% increase in ampacity in 84 to 91% of the time. Several transmission system operators in Europe are implementing DLR under our transmission circle Todupuzha of KSEB Limited. DLR is implemented in 6 kV Valathope Kattapana corridor. Features of DLR. what dynamic line rating achieves is it refers to active varying of presumed thermal capacity for overhead power lines in response to environmental and weather conditions, done continually in real time based on changes in ambient temperature, solar irradiation, wind speed, and wind direction with the aim of reducing grid congestion. Dynamic line rating enables better use of existing grid, allowing maximized VRE integration by taking advantage of shifting weather conditions and their effects on a power line's thermal capacity. A line's thermal capacity will be higher if it is cooled by wind or when the temperature drops, that is, the ambient temperature drops, allowing more electricity to flow through the line. This characteristic of the line, that is, as regards the thermal, in vis-a-vis the thermal capacity of the line, is being utilized in case of dynamic line rating. So, factors affecting the ampacity: physical and electrical factors, line current, sag, tension, physical and electrical properties, the material of the conductor and construction of the conductor, then insulation. And weather factors: wind speed, wind direction, solar radiation, ambient temperature, etc. So if the ambient temperature drops in the site where the line is situated, then we can load the line more. So we need to have sensors at different points along the line to capture the temperature, the wind speed, wind direction, etc. To the system operator, that is the transmission system operator or load dispatcher, and load dispatcher can decide upon the enhanced loading capacity to contain the sag or tension of the line at appropriate levels. DLR offers many applications and benefits the power system, reduces congestion in the power system, optimizes asset utilization in a safe and optimal manner, results in additional income from existing generation assets, improves cost efficiency of lines, avoids investment in new lines, and all these entail in lower prices for customers, faster integration of distributed energy resources, and greater power system integration of VRE. DLR can contribute to overall power system planning and enhances grid resilience, key to maintaining security of supply. And a case study is presented with a 32-kilometer long ACSR line with static line rating of 787 ampere at 40 degrees Celsius, zero wind. Changes in ampacity is as below. That is, static line rating, which is the thermal overload limit of the conductor that is being used, is 787 ampere at 40 degrees Celsius. So, based upon the temperature condition, ambient temperature condition, how the loading can be changed or ampacity can be changed. So features: ambient temperature, 2 degrees Celsius fluctuation means change in ampacity can be achieved only plus or minus 2% of the capacity. 10 degrees Celsius drop in ambient temperature can entail in capacity utilization, additional capacity utilization of 11%, which result in the new ampacity, which was 787 static line rating to 874 amperes. So much of difference could be achieved with 10 degrees Celsius drop in ambient temperature. Then regarding solar radiation, if the clouds shadows, then plus or minus few percentage can be achieved if due to the presence of cloud, shadowing cloud, that is absence of sun. But in the middle of night, it will be plus 18% capacity enhancement can be achieved. That means instead of SLR, static line rating of 787 ampere, we can throughput 929 ampere at the middle of the night with 18% capacity rise, ampacity rise. So wind increase of 1 meter per second. 45, if the wind direction is 45 degrees, then plus 35% capacity enhancement can be achieved, resulting in an enhancement from the SLR of 787 amperes to DLR of 1060 amperes. Similarly, with 95 degree angle wind speed, wind direction, 44% of ampacity enhancement can be achieved with change in ampacity SLR of 787 ampere at 40 degrees Celsius to 1130, that is 1130 amperes. That is C 800 plus that is 330 or 340 amperes enhancement capacity can be done with the same infrastructure with so much of wind speed, 1 meter per second wind speed at 95-degree angle. So that is the advantage of using DLR. So it's quite advantageous, but the DLR, we need to have supporting infrastructure, hardware requirement at the field. DLR implementation requirements: line identification, sensor installations to sense the wind speed, wind direction, solar intensity, temperature, ambient temperature, etc. Data communication capability to communicate the data captured on real time to the system operator. Data analytics by means of software. That is how better we can load based upon the ambient conditions. Computing and temperature forecasting. Validation for improved visualization. Self-contained line monitors encompassing auxiliary power, communications, and all measurement sensors. SAC detectors, weather stations, data loggers, communication devices, etc. One UK-based firm, they have come up with communication equipment through fiber optic cable without any power requirement for the monitoring of these conditions at site, so that without any auxiliary power we can achieve transmission of data, whatever required data from the field to the system operator. That is presently they say they have 30 kilometers of range, distance range for the system to operate without auxiliary power at the remote end, between the remote end and the system operator point. But in fact, NIT Calicut Professor Dr. Mithun is there. He is involved in that particular project to increase the distance range of the fiber optic communication from 30 kilometers to 60 kilometers, so that increased range of distance can be achieved without any auxiliary power at the source, that is at the sensing points, and sensing points to transmit the relevant data from the sensors to the system operator to have complete visibility of the ambient conditions by the system operator. Then SAC detectors, weather stations, data loggers, and communication devices. Software and communication requirements. Tailored algorithm for transmission capacity calculation for each line, because each line has typical characteristics, because transmission, that line material will be different, the temperature, ambient temperature of the site will be different, etc. So tailored algorithm is required for transmission capacity calculation. Data logging software is required to record and analyze data from the DLR equipment. Data analysis software deployed by transmission system operators to analyze data generated by DLR system, which must have interoperability with the softwares invoked by the system operators. Forecasting algorithms complemented by AI tools to improve DLR performance, minimizing weather forecast and operational errors. And communication protocols, 4G, 5G enabled DLR equipment that can be used for real-time relay of data to system operators. I'm going on at a fast pace because to complete this presentation by at least 9 p.m. Advanced generation forecasting. Meteorological technology captures real-time site-specific weather data. Algorithms produce advanced forecasts for solar and wind output. Improved weather forecasts allow accurate estimates the amounts of solar and wind electricity likely to be available in specific time frames. Accurate weather forecasting is crucial for integrating wind and solar power generating resources in the grid, especially at high penetration levels. Crucial cost-effective tool available to RE generators as well as system operators. Advanced generation forecasting. This is the next strategic innovation. Advances in digital technologies such as artificial intelligence and big data to analyze live and historical weather data and make predictions. Power generation forecast become more accurate due to increase in computing power and improvement in algorithms. Time granularity for short-term predictions has increased due to increased use of AI, that is artificial intelligence and big data, and this contribute to increased integration of renewable power. The time horizon, it's very short term forecast is for the duration from seconds to 1 hour. Applications could be real-time electricity dispatch, optimal reserve, smoothing power and power production of solar and wind. And short-term forecasting, that time duration is 1 hour to 24 hours, increasing stability of the grid. Medium-term forecasting, 1 week to 1 month, the applications of power system planning and maintenance schedule. Long-term forecasting is 1 month to 1 year is the duration. Electricity generation planning, energy bidding, and security operations. This is a figure which shows the weather forecast plus plant availability. We can generate. Generation forecasting, power generation forecasting can be achieved with these two in place: weather forecast and plant availability. Accurate weather forecast implies accurate weather conditions enable renewable generators to forecast their power generation. And as regards plant availability, the availability of a plant accounts for both planned and unplanned outages. So these put together, we can have generation forecast. Power generation forecast, time horizon 5 to 60 minutes ahead of real time. There are methods, Statisticala and persistence, that is software specifications, key applications, regulation, real-time dispatch, trading, market clearing, etc. And 1 to 6 hours ahead of real time, blend of statistical and numerical weather prediction models, scheduling, load following, congestion management, days ahead of real time, numerical weather prediction with corrections for systematic biases, scheduling, reserve requirement, trading, congestion management, weeks, seasonal, 1 year or more ahead of real time, climatological forecast, numerical weather prediction, resource investment planning, generation, network, contingency analysis, maintenance planning, and operations management. This is based on an NREL data published in 2016. National Renewable Energy Laboratory. Here, numerical weather forecast models, they take input data from public weather data, private weather data, and public sensor data. So sensors are normally deployed to get data from various points the geographical area. So data is valuable. So whoever who implants a sensor in his area to have wind or whatever, temperature, ambient temperature, wind, then wind speed, etc. They will be paid by the data aggregator. Temperature, solar irradiance, wind velocity, humidity, rain, etc. So these are fed to the energy forecast models where they take inputs from plant characteristics, plant availability, and generation forecast is produced from this. The hardware requirement of this forecasting, that is climate forecast, weather forecast, is hardware. These are the technical requirements. Hardware, the smart meters to monitor real-time power production, weather sensors to continuously monitor changes in weather, wind turbine sensors to monitor functioning of wind turbines, regional national networks or weather stations to continuously monitor weather patterns, sky images, satellite data. The wind turbine sensors can be implanted in the wind turbine blade itself. Software. Advanced weather forecasting tools based on a combination of input data, historical data, and real-time data. So from the historical data, we can predict or forecast. And from real-time data, the forecast can be adjusted and feedback can be given to the system operator. Advanced power generation forecasting tools based on weather forecasting and power plant parameters, example, availability of the power plant. Data analytics software, that is AI software such as machine learning platforms. Thus the software, communication protocols, common interoperable protocol coordination between VRE developers, asset owners, system operators, and consumers. Stakeholder roles and responsibilities. Policymaker means normally the government. Support the development of advanced forecasting tools for weather and VRE power generation. Deploy mechanisms to record weather data at various locations to accurately forecast VRE power generation. System operators. Enable transmission and our system operators to play the role of data custodians. In liberalized markets, allow authorized third-party vendors to use data for developing new forecasting tools. VRE generators. Equip VRE plants with supervisory control and data acquisition systems, sensors and software for accurate power generation forecast. Make use of most advanced weather forecasting technology for optimized VRE generation to participate in markets to inform system operators of the forecasted generation output. Meteorological and research institutes collaborate with the renewable power industry, including system operators, to refine the weather forecasting tools to improve VRE integration into the power system. The next innovation, strategic innovation, that is aggregators. Aggregators, they use a centralized information technology system to remotely control the distributed energy resources and optimize their operation. They can provide load shifting, balancing services to the transmission system operators, local flexibility to the distribution system operators. Key enabling factors include smart meters and communication infrastructure, regulatory framework allowing participation of new market players, accurate data, weather forecast, load projection, and wholesale prices. Aggregator characteristics. Aggregators, what they do is they bundle distributed energy resources to engage as a single entity, which can otherwise be called a virtual power plant in power or service markets. Increased digitalization and smart metering have created new business models. So this aggregator business model is a byproduct of increased digitalization of grid and smart metering infrastructure. Aggregators are new market players that can optimize the use of distributed energy resources. An aggregator can operationalize many distributed energy resources together, creating a sizable capacity similar to that of a conventional generating plant. They can sell electricity or ancillary services via an electricity exchange in wholesale market or through procurement by the system operator. Aggregator can help in better integration of renewable energy resources by providing both demand and supply side flexibility services to the grid. Demand side flexibility is provided by aggregating demand response resources or energy storage units to act to grid requirements. Supply side flexibility is provided by optimizing power generation from flexible resources such as combined heat and power plants and biogas plants, etc., and the use of energy storage systems or units. Operational optimization is done based on historical data and forecasted data on demand, generation, and prices. As regards technical requirement of aggregators, the hardware requirements, controllable load and supply assets such as energy storage, electric vehicles, and distributed generation. Smart meters to provide real-time power consumption and production, home gateways, energy boxes, and smart appliances for energy management to enable virtual power plant operation. Software requirement, aggregation software, algorithm to calculate optimal operation of each unit, real-time communication between the aggregator and the hardware system, advanced demand and supply forecasting models, platforms for optimized scheduling of dispatchable distributed energy resources. Communication protocols, common interoperable protocol for coordination among system operators, network operators, and the prosumers. Stakeholder roles and responsibilities as regard aggregators provide grid-related services the distribution system operators if a market is established. Information exchange with DSOs, that is distribution system operators, related to capacity, location, type of distributed energy resources. Distribution system operators ensure a level playing ground for all flexibility providers, procure market-based flexibility services from the aggregators, securely share consumer and grid-related data with third parties as per applicable data privacy and sharing norms, better forecast for distributed energy resources services based on past data or historical performance and weather forecast. So distributed system operator is a byproduct of digitalization in the distribution sector. So when digitalization, that is smart grid, during the smart grid implementation or even the smart meter AMI implementation, we need to have distribution system operators, and a close coordination between distribution system operator and transmission system operator at the higher level is required to make the power sector flow free. Then next solution, that is the next strategic innovation for RE integration, is energy as a service. Energy as a service supports deployment and operation of DERs, distributed energy resources, and demand side management, which unlocks demand side flexibility. Key enabling factors of energy as a service are digitalization, time of use tariffs, revision of DSO methodologies to account for demand side flexibility. So digitalization of power system at distribution level. Most EAS business models are based on analyzing real-time information and data on consumers' energy usage as well as electricity market conditions. In order to gather real-time information, the deployment of enabling infrastructure, automatic metering infrastructure, advanced metering infrastructure, and smart devices are necessary. Electricity appliances and devices equipped with appropriate sensors, because IoT technologies are to be applied for making this innovation. Hardware needs to be deployed at the consumer end. So such devices, they can capture and transmit their consumption information and possibly allow for remote control or automated responses to electricity price signals. And wider usage of smart meters and sensors, together with the application of the Internet of Things and use of large amounts of data with artificial intelligence, have created opportunities to provide new services to the system. Implementation of TOU tariff. TOU tariffs are a key enabler for EAS business models. Energy as a service providers, they can deploy a combination of assets such as solar PV, battery storage, smart devices, and smart meters to optimize energy consumption, as well as provide demand response services to the system operators. During peak load hours, when tariffs are high, energy service providers can reduce demand either by increasing self-consumption from local generation sources using distributed storage systems such as batteries or power clouds, or by moving shiftable loads such as washing machine, water heating, etc. to a later time. Then revision of DSO methodologies to account for demand side flexibility. DSOs have conventionally invested in network reinforcement to reduce distribution network congestion that could occur during peak demand intervals. The rules under which distribution system operators plan and size their grids could be modified to allow these operators some freedom to decide whether to reinforce the grid or to use flexibility services provided by the end consumers via energy service providers. Similarly, meeting peak load demand through locally stored or generated energy instead of transporting generation from a distant source may decrease grid congestion and defer network investments. For example, battery storage systems deployed by end customers could store excess energy produced from renewable sources such as solar PV or be charged with grid electricity when it's cheap. Batteries can then be discharged during peak time intervals to fulfill the demand. Through the energy as a service model, energy service providers can close the gap between the needs of distribution system operators and the flexibility that potential distributed energy resources and consumers can provide. Smart meter penetration is 14% globally, 70% in China and the US, and 44% in the European Union as in 2019. That is regarding statistics of smart meter installation. Energy as a service models with time of use pricing, that's TOU tariff, can reduce the peak demand by 3 to 10%. Actually, the feedback helps consumers in regulating consumption in a TOU event, in a TOU environment. Energy as a service models are emerging in countries like Australia, China, Finland, Ireland, Italy, Japan, Sweden, the UK, and the US. Increased deployment of DERs along with widespread availability of smart devices has created room for innovative business models to emerge, shifting the value from selling kilowatt hour to service provisions, because selling energy has been transformed or upgraded into selling a service or providing a service when we provide electricity as a service, energy as a service. New business models are emerging in the power system due to wider installation of distributed energy generation and widespread availability of smart devices. Increase in digitalization and smart metering has enabled the collection and analysis of large data sets, which sets in automation. All of these provide the basis for development of new energy-related services. With increasing digitalization, consumers are optimizing their consumption by increasing feedback on consumption through in-home displays and are better managing their electricity cost from the feedback obtained from the in-home displays. Key factors to enable deployment of energy as a service is digitalization of power system at the distribution level, implementation of TOU tariff, and revision of distribution system operation methodologies to account for demand side flexibility. As regards the technical requirement of energy as a service, hardware requirement, widespread adoption of distributed generation resources, energy efficient devices, and energy storage batteries. Smart meters required to provide real-time, near to real-time data on power consumption and production. Smart home gateways, energy boxes, and smart appliances for energy management necessary for enabling two-way and real-time interaction with the distribution grid. Software requirement, software that can respond to electricity price signals and that automatically adjust consumption according to the customer's preferences. Aggregation software, timely communication between the aggregating agency and the smart meters based on service requirements, smart appliances, and energy storage systems. Weather, energy, and price forecasting software can predict power generation and future prices to allow cost optimization for the energy consumed. Energy management software supported through artificial intelligence. Communication protocols, common interoperable protocol for coordination among distribution network operators, consumer, and the energy service provider. As regards the regulatory requirements in retail market, time of use tariff and other regulations that enable demand response management for consumers, regulations that enable energy service providers to implement innovative pricing models and that provide customers the ability to choose the level of service based on their needs. Prices could be decoupled from units of electricity sold to incentivize utility providers to promote energy management efforts at the customer end. Design incentives for customers and power suppliers to invest in smart meters and smart devices. Distribution system operators revise distribution system operators' methodologies to account for demand-side flexibility when operating and planning the system expansion. Incentivize distribution system operators to support the rollout of smart metering solutions, including innovative ICT, information communication technology infrastructure models. Stakeholder roles and responsibilities as regards policymaker, promote innovations and deployment of decentralized power systems. Regulators ensure that customer rights are respected by the stakeholders in energy as a service model. Provide incentives for consumers and prosumers to provide demand response and ancillary services to the distribution system operator. Energy service providers increase awareness among consumers regarding the latest energy management technologies and provide guidance to consumers on choosing solutions that fit their needs. Create end-to-end solutions starting from energy procurement to consumption management that will meet a variety of consumers' needs. Increase awareness among the consumers about the benefits of being an active participant in the energy market. Ensure access to simple and reliable information to consumers. Distribution system operators procure market-based flexibility services from distributed energy resources via energy service providers. Securely share consumer and grid-related data with third parties as per applicable data privacy and sharing norms. Consumers to become an active consumer by responding to price signals where markets are in place to reduce the cost of the final electricity bill, cost on the final electricity bill. Then next innovative strategy is electric vehicle smart charging. Smart charging of electric vehicles enables reduced grid infrastructure investments, network congestion management, peak shaving, provision of ancillary services. The key enabling factors of electric vehicle smart charging are charging infrastructure development and deployment, information communication technology control and communication protocols, define roles and responsibilities of stakeholders, design regulations for vehicle to grid integration, big data and AI for smart charging. That is, we have V1G, which is V1G means unidirectional controlled charging. There is only one direction. Vehicles or charging infrastructure adjust their rate of charging. Rate of charging can be adjusted in unidirectional controlled charging. Vehicle to grid. Here, smart grid controls vehicle charging and returns electricity to the grid at the time of need in the grid. Vehicle to home or building. Vehicle to home or building. Vehicles will act as supplement power suppliers to the home or building. So that is the V to H bar B. System flexibility and local flexibility are there in this strategy. As regards system flexibility, wholesale market, peak shaving and portfolio balancing can be achieved. Transmission system operator, frequency control, primary, secondary and tertiary reserve, other ancillary services, example, voltage management, that is voltage flexibility, I mean, to keep the voltage as near to standard voltage as is possible. Emergency power during outages. Then last regards local flexibility for distribution system operator, voltage control, local congestion and capacity management. And behind the meter, it is increasing the rate of renewable energy self-consumption, arbitrage between locally produced electricity and electricity from the grid backup power. Behind the meter, that is what is being done at the consumer or prosumer level. EV smart charging statistics and achievement. 5.6 million EVs are there on the world's road at the beginning of 2019. That is the statistics of EVs on roads globally. 5.2 million EV chargers in 2018, 540,000 publicly available chargers. Smart charging of electric vehicles, EVs, can significantly reduce the peak load and avoid grid reinforcement at a cost of 10% of the total cost of reinforcing grid. Smart charging means adapting the charging cycle of electric vehicles to both the conditions of the power system and the needs of the vehicle users. This facilitates the integration of electric vehicles when meeting mobility needs. Passenger electric cars on the road, electric vehicles on the road, passenger electric cars. In 2010, this gives a graphical display of the presence of electric vehicles on road to be used. That is being used by used as passenger cars. In 2010, it was less than 0.5 million. 2019 is 6 million. It would be 2030, it would be 157 million. In 2040, it would be 745 million. And in 2050, it would be 1,166 million. That is the projection. As regards 2030, 2040, 2050, the figures are projected figures. EV smart charging. Smart charging for EVs holds the key to unleash the synergies between clean transport and low carbon electricity. Actually, smart charging supports clean transport and low carbon electricity. That is, IC engine vehicles are being replaced by electric vehicles, both battery electric vehicles or fuel cell electric vehicles in case of hydrogen economy. It minimizes the load impact from electric vehicles on the grid and unlocks the flexibility to use more solar and wind power. Electric vehicles represent a paradigm shift for both transport and power sectors, holding potential to advance the decarbonization of both sectors by coupling them properly. Though the transport sector has a very low share of renewable energy, it is undergoing a change, particularly in the passenger road vehicle segment where EVs are emerging. Policies needed for adopting this strategy. Stable support policies for e-mobility and smart charging. Strategic policies could include prioritization of demonstration and commercialization. Increasing cooperation between public and private actors could enable the rollout of large-scale demonstration and pilot projects. Win-win synergies and exchanges between the electricity, automotive, and manufacturing sectors. The electricity industry should increasingly engage with e-mobility stakeholders in raising awareness and developing best practices with a focus on customer opportunities. The consumer behavior in all these strategies are very important in maintaining RE, higher percentage of RE in the grid. Regulatory requirements. Wholesale markets allow electric vehicles through aggregators or individually to provide service in the ancillary service market and wholesale market. Enable revenue streams to incentivize smart charging of EVs. Distribution system, innovative grid fees for distribution networks, possibly special tariffs for transport, given a suitable time frame for suitable framework for smart meters. Retail market, efficient price signals, just time of use tariffs and other load management schemes to incentivize smart charging. Understand consumer behavior and create awareness of possibilities, use load management. Stakeholder roles and responsibilities. State institutions, national governments could sponsor the project and provide subsidies for deployment of charging points. Local and regional authorities could co-finance the project. Electricity market, distribution system operators can seek support from e-mobility service providers and ICT companies, information communication technology companies, in the delivery of smart charging services through their customers to ease the cost of technology adoption and to delay or avoid grid reinforcement. Energy retailers can develop smart charging as a measure to support their power plans, portfolio strategy, particularly at the local level, and as a possible revenue stream coming from ancillary services sold to the transmission system operators. E-mobility market incentivize electric mobility market participants to invest in smart charging solutions and services, provide incentives to e-mobility customers via contractual benefits, example, price signals to access smart charging services. Charging spot operators need to fulfill their contractual commitments while considering charging requests from consumers and optimizing their costs based on electricity market signals. E-mobility service providers request charging access following the demand from their e-mobility customers. The charging requests might be executed either on a charging infrastructure owned by a third party, charging spot operators, or owned by e-mobility service provider itself. And in the case where when it also plays the role of charging spot operators. So I think I've come to a conclusion of the presentation. We can have questions and discussions.
ചോദ്യങ്ങൾ ചോദിക്കാമെങ്കിൽ ചോദിക്കാം. സാറിന്റെ
This is CP George. ഹലോ,
കേൾക്കാം സാറേ, പറഞ്ഞോളൂ.
കേൾക്കാവോ? അല്ല കേൾക്കാം. ഓക്കെ
കേൾക്കാം.
ഓക്കെ, എനിക്ക് ഈ ഒരു കാര്യമാണ് ചോദിക്കുന്നത്. ഞാൻ ജസ്റ്റ് സോളാർ ഇൻ്റഗ്രേറ്ററുടെ ഒരു ഇതുണ്ട്. ഞാൻ അതിനകത്തൊരു അപ്ഡേറ്റഡ് ഉള്ള അറിയാമെന്ന് അറിയാണ്ട് വെദർ യു ഹാവ് എനി അപ്ഡേറ്റഡ് ഡേറ്റ അബൌട്ട് കേരള സിസ്റ്റം. ബിക്കോസ് ഐ ഹാവ് ഈ പറയുന്ന ഞാൻ കുറച്ച് സ്റ്റേറ്റ്, ഗുജറാത്ത് പോലുള്ള സ്റ്റേറ്റിലെ അവർ ഇതിൻ്റെ കൃത്യമായിട്ടുള്ള ഒരു ഡേറ്റ കണ്ടിട്ടുണ്ട്. അവർക്ക് ശരിക്കും പറഞ്ഞാൽ സ്റ്റേറ്റ് വൈസ് ഇവർ ഡിമാൻഡ് അഗ്രിഗേഷൻ, സോളാർ ഡിമാൻഡ് അഗ്രിഗേഷൻ എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞിട്ട് അവർ ഓരോ സിറ്റിയിലെ അല്ലെങ്കിൽ ഒരു പർട്ടിക്കുലർ സിറ്റി എടുത്തിട്ട് അതിൻ്റെ ഡിമാൻഡുകൾ, അതിൻ്റെ റിക്വയർമെൻറ്റുകൾ എല്ലാം കണ്ടിട്ടുണ്ട്. അതുപോലെ ഒരു സിസ്റ്റം കേരളത്തിൽ ഡെവലപ്പ് ചെയ്യാനുള്ള ഒരു അപ്ഡേഷനോ, അതുപോലെ നമുക്ക് ഒത്തിരി ഇവിടെ ഒത്തിരി സർവേ ഒക്കെ നടക്കുന്നുണ്ട്. അതിൻ്റെ ഡേറ്റ അപ്ഡേറ്റ് ചെയ്ത് ആ രീതിയിലേക്ക് ആക്കിയിട്ടുണ്ടെന്ന് അറിയണം. കാരണം വെച്ചാൽ ഇവിടെ ഒരു ഗ്രാഫ് ഞാൻ കേരളത്തിൻ്റെ അതിനെ സംബന്ധിച്ച് ഒരു ഡേറ്റ ഗ്രാഫ് കണ്ടിട്ടില്ല.
സാറേ, അത് പിന്നെ നമ്മൾ റൂഫ് ടോപ്പുമായിട്ട് ബന്ധപ്പെട്ടിട്ടുള്ള കാര്യങ്ങളല്ലേ? അത് സാറ് സോളാർ പാർക്കിന്റെ കാര്യമാണോ പറയുന്നത്?
റൂഫ് ടോപ്പുമായിട്ട് അത് തന്നെയാണ് ഉദ്ദേശിക്കുന്നത്. സോളാർ അഗ്രിഗേഷൻ എന്ന് പറയുന്നത് റൂഫ് ടോപ്പ് ഡിമാൻഡുകൾ അഗ്രിഗേറ്റ് ചെയ്യാനും അതിനെ ഈ പറയുന്ന ലോക്കൽ എനർജി ഡിമാൻഡുമായിട്ട് കോയിൻസൈഡ് ചെയ്യുന്ന ഒരു സിസ്റ്റം ചിലയിടത്ത് കണ്ടിട്ടുണ്ട്. അങ്ങനെ ഡേറ്റ കണ്ടിട്ടുണ്ട്. ഫോർ എക്സാമ്പിൾ ഗുജറാത്തിലൊരു ഡേറ്റ ഞാൻ കണ്ടിട്ടുണ്ട്. എങ്കിലും നമ്മളാ ഇപ്പം ഇൻഡിവിജ്വൽ ആയിട്ട് നമ്മളിപ്പം സോളാറില് ഇൻഡിവിജ്വൽ ആണല്ലോ, ഓരോ വ്യക്തിയും നമ്മൾ തന്നെ ഉണ്ടാകാൻ പറ്റത്തില്ല. അപ്പൊ അതിനൊരു അഗ്രിഗേറ്ററെ കൊണ്ടുവന്നിട്ട്
ഒരു അഗ്രിഗേഷൻ എന്ന് പറയുന്നത് ഒരു ഇന്റർമീഡിയറി ആയിട്ട് അഗ്രിഗേറ്റർ ഷുഡ് കം ടു അഗ്രിഗേറ്റ് ദ സോളാർ ജനറേഷൻ ഓഫ് ഈച്ച് ഓഫ് ദ പ്രൊസ്യൂമർ ആൻഡ് പ്രസന്റ് എ വ്യൂ, a totality view to the state or state administration or electricity board or whatever.
Yes.
So, but such a system, I don't know whether it is prevalent in Kerala or not. I have not seen any statistics regarding that. But we have 10 in India. We have 10 renewable rich states. That is what IEA report says. IEA and what's that? Niti Aayog. Niti Aayog have co-produced a report on renewable integration in India in 2021. There they say the renewable rich states in India are Tamil Nadu, Karnataka, Gujarat, Rajasthan, Andhra Pradesh, Maharashtra, Madhya Pradesh, Telangana, Punjab, and finally Kerala. And that accounts for the national average of 8.2%. That is the 2021 report of IEA states that the 8.2% renewable generation is there from these 10 renewable rich states in India. And solar and wind account for around 29% of the annual electricity generation in Karnataka, 20% in Rajasthan, 18% in Tamil Nadu, and 14% in Gujarat. So that is what the report contains. But as regards Kerala, there is no such figures.
എൻ്റെ ക്വസ്റ്റ്യൻ അതല്ലായിരുന്നു. ശരിക്കും പറഞ്ഞു കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ എൻ്റെ ക്വസ്റ്റ്യൻ എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ നമ്മൾ ഈ റൂഫ് ടോപ്പുകൾ ഇൻ്റഗ്രേറ്റ് ചെയ്യാനായിട്ട് ഒരു
അഗ്രഗേറ്ററെ നിയമിച്ചിട്ടുണ്ടോ എന്ന് പോലും അറിയത്തില്ല സർ.
അതാ ഞാൻ ചോദിക്കുന്നത്. അല്ലല്ല, അതിന്റെ ഡേറ്റ ഇവരിപ്പോ നമ്മുടെ കുറെ സർവേ ഒക്കെ നടത്തിയിട്ടുണ്ട് അതിനെ സംബന്ധിച്ച. ബിക്കോസ് അതിന്റെ പോസിബിലിറ്റിയും അതിന്റെ ഇതും കണ്ടുകൊണ്ടുള്ള ഒരു ഡേറ്റ ഞാൻ ഉദ്ദേശിക്കുന്നത്. നമ്മളിപ്പം നമ്മുടെ കുറെ സർവേ ഒക്കെ നടത്തിയതായിട്ട് നമ്മൾ കേട്ടിട്ടുണ്ട്. ആ സർവേ ഡേറ്റ കൺസോളിഡേറ്റ് ചെയ്ത് എവിടെയൊക്കെയാണ് ഈ പറയുന്ന രീതിയിലുള്ള ഈ ഒരു അഗ്രിഗേറ്റ് ചെയ്യാൻ പറ്റുന്ന ആ ഒരു ലോക്കാലിറ്റിയിലും ജോഗ്രഫിക്കൽ ഏരിയയിലും വെച്ചിട്ടുള്ള ഒരു ഡേറ്റ കണ്ടിട്ടുണ്ടോ? ഓക്കെ,
അത് ചെയ്തിട്ടുള്ളതായിട്ട് അറിവില്ല. ഇനി അത് റീസ് ലെവലിൽ അന്വേഷിക്കേണ്ടി വരും അങ്ങനെ വല്ലതും ചെയ്യുന്നുണ്ടോ എന്നുള്ളത്.
ഓക്കെ, അനിലെ ഒറ്റ കാര്യം ചോദിച്ചോട്ടെ. നമ്മുടെ ഈ 8% അല്ലെങ്കിൽ 14% പറയുന്നത് ഈസ് ഇറ്റ് ഇൻസ്റ്റാൾ കപ്പാസിറ്റി ഓർ ആക്ച്വൽ യൂണിറ്റ് ഇൻഫ്യൂസ്ഡ്?
ഈ നമ്മുടെ ജനറേഷന്റെ കാര്യമാണോ പറയുന്നത്?
അതെ. ഈ സോളാർ ജനറേഷൻ 8% എന്നൊക്കെ പറയുന്നതേ അവരുടെ ടോട്ടൽ ഇൻസ്റ്റാൾഡ് കപ്പാസിറ്റി
അല്ല, ഇൻസ്റ്റാൾഡ് കപ്പാസിറ്റി അല്ല കുര്യാക്കോസേ, അത് ജനറേഷൻ ആണ്. അത് സ്പെസിഫിക് ആയിട്ട് ഈ റിപ്പോർട്ടിനകത്തുണ്ട്. ഇറ്റ്സ് ഇലക്ട്രിസിറ്റി ജനറേഷൻ, അങ്ങനെ തന്നെ പറയുന്നത്.
ആക്ച്വൽ യൂണിറ്റ് ജനറേറ്റഡ്. ഓക്കെ, ഫൈൻ, വെരി ഗുഡ്. ഓക്കെ,
അതെ. നമ്മുടെ ജനറേഷൻ മിക്സിനകത്തുള്ള കോൺട്രിബ്യൂഷൻ ആണ്, റിന്യൂവബിൾ എനർജി കോൺട്രിബ്യൂഷൻ ആണ് അത്രയും പെർസെന്റേജ്.
ഓക്കെ, ഫൈൻ, ദാറ്റ്സ് ഗുഡ്. അൺലൈക്ക്, ഓക്കെ, മനസ്സിലായി. ഓക്കെ.
നമ്മുടെ ഈ ഡൈനാമിക് ലൈൻ റൈറ്റിംഗ് ഉണ്ടല്ലോ, DLR, അത് കട്ടപ്പനയിൽ ചെയ്തതിനകത്ത് നമുക്കത് അതിനകത്ത് പ്രയോജനപ്പെട്ടിട്ടുണ്ടോ? അതിന്റെ റിസൾട്ട് എന്താണ്?
അത് നമ്മുടെ ലോഡ് ഡിസ്പാച്ചുകാരാണ് അതിനെപ്പറ്റി പറയേണ്ടത്. ബിക്കോസ് എനിക്ക് അതിനെപ്പറ്റി വലിയ വിവരമില്ല. ഇത് നമ്മുടെ ബിജു SS ഇല്ലേ, നമ്മുടെ പവർ സിസ്റ്റം എഞ്ചിനീയറിംഗിൽ ഉണ്ടായിരുന്നേ, അദ്ദേഹം അറിഞ്ഞ ഒരു ഫിഗർ ഞാൻ ഇതിനകത്ത് ചേർത്തു എന്നുള്ളതേ ഉള്ളൂ. പക്ഷെ ഇത് മോണിറ്റർ ചെയ്യേണ്ടത് LD-കാരാണ്, ലോഡ് ഡിസ്പാച്ചുകാരാണ്.
ഇത് ശരിക്കും പറഞ്ഞു കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ ഒരു പറഞ്ഞു കേട്ടിടത്തോളം വിൻഡ് പ്രൊഡക്ഷൻ ഉള്ളിടത്താണെങ്കിൽ ചിലപ്പോൾ എഫക്റ്റീവ് ആയിരിക്കും. കാരണം വിൻഡ് ഈ പറഞ്ഞ പോലെ വിൻഡ് കൂടുതലുണ്ടെങ്കിൽ വിൻഡ് പ്രൊഡക്ഷൻ കൂടും. ആ സമയത്ത് ലൈൻ റേറ്റിംഗ്.
പിന്നെ ഈ ഹൈ റേഞ്ച് ആയതുകൊണ്ട് ടെമ്പറേച്ചറും ഒരു അഡ്വാൻറ്റേജും ഉണ്ടാവും, ആംബിയന്റ് ടെമ്പറേച്ചറിന്റെ.
ഓക്കെ.
അപ്പൊ ഡിക്രീസ് ഇൻ ആംബിയന്റ് ടെമ്പറേച്ചർ വിൽ റിസൾട്ട് ഇൻ ഡിക്രീസിങ് ടെമ്പറേച്ചർ ഓഫ് ദ ലൈൻ ഓൾസോ. അപ്പം we will get the advantage of that also. That is low level of ambient temperature. We can push in more current through the conductor, which is irrespective of the thermal overload capacity of the conductor.
ഈ കേസിൽ ഫീഡ്ബാക്ക് എടുക്കുമോ സാറേ? സാഗ് ചെക്ക് ചെയ്യുമോ ഈ പറഞ്ഞ ലൊക്കേഷൻസിലൊക്കെ?
കേട്ടില്ല.
നമ്മളിപ്പോ ഇതിനകത്തൊരു ഫീഡ്ബാക്ക് ഇപ്പൊ നമ്മളിപ്പോ സാധാരണഗതിയിൽ ഇത് ആ കണ്ടീഷനിലുള്ള ടെമ്പറേച്ചർ, വിൻഡ്, ഇങ്ങനത്തെ കാര്യങ്ങളിലൊക്കെ
അത് സെൻസേഴ്സ് വെക്കും, സെൻസേഴ്സ്.
ഓക്കെ. അപ്പോ സ്വാഭാവികമായിട്ട് നമ്മൾ ഇപ്പൊ ഉദാഹരണം പറഞ്ഞപ്പോഴത്തെ ഒരു എക്സാമ്പിൾ എടുക്കുകയാണെങ്കിൽ നമ്മുടെ അതിനകത്ത് ഓൾമോസ്റ്റ് 44% വരെ എക്സസ് ലോഡിങ് ചെയ്യാന്ന് പറയുന്നു. അപ്പൊ അങ്ങനെ ഒരു ലോഡിങ്ങിലേക്ക് നമ്മൾ പോകുമ്പോൾ ഈ സാഗ് എത്ര വരുന്നു എന്നുള്ളത് ക്രോസ് ചെക്ക് ചെയ്യും.
സാഗും സെൻസ് ചെയ്യും, ട്രാൻസ്മിഷൻ ലൈനിന്റെ സാഗും സെൻസ് ചെയ്യും.
ഓക്കെ.
ഇതെല്ലാം റിയൽ ടൈം മോണിറ്റർ ചെയ്തുകൊണ്ടാണ് ചെയ്യുന്നത്. അപ്പൊ അതുകൊണ്ടാണ് അതിന് ഇത്തിരി കോസ്റ്റ്ലി പ്രൊപ്പോസിഷൻ ആണ്. But then it is, though it's costly proposition, we can go in for that because no deferral can be avoided. I mean, expansion can be deferred.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Sir, ഷൈൻ ആണ് സാറേ. ഇപ്പോ EVയുടെ ഒരു പ്രൊജക്ഷൻ സാർ കാണിച്ചിരുന്നല്ലോ, by 2050 ഏതാണ്ട് 1.1 ബില്യൺ across the world അല്ലേ?
അതെ.
അപ്പൊ ഇപ്പൊ ഇന്ത്യയെ സംബന്ധിച്ച് പറഞ്ഞാൽ പോലും അല്ലെങ്കിൽ കേരളം എടുത്താൽ പോലും നമ്മള് കുറെ EV പെനിട്രേഷൻ ഉണ്ട്. അപ്പോ ആക്ച്വലി ഇഫ് വി ഹാവ് സച്ച് കൺട്രോൾ, അതായത് ഇപ്പൊ സ്മാർട്ട് മീറ്റർ വരാൻ വേണ്ടിയിട്ട് ഇപ്പോ ലേറ്റ് ആവുമെന്ന് എനിക്കറിയില്ല. എന്തായാലും ഒരു 4 വർഷം കൊണ്ട് വന്നാലോ അതിന് മുമ്പേ തന്നെ നമുക്ക് ചെയ്യാൻ പറ്റുന്ന ഒരു സംഭവമുണ്ട്. ആക്ച്വലി ഇതിന് സബ്സിഡൈസ് ചെയ്യാം. എന്നിട്ട് ഇവര് അതായത് സ്മാർട്ട് മീറ്റേഴ്സ് സ്മാർട്ടായിട്ട് ഇതിന് ഓപ്പറേറ്റ് സ്മാർട്ട് ചാർജിങ് ആക്കി കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ നമുക്ക് കേരളത്തിന്റെ തന്നെ ഒരു ലോഡ് പ്രൊഫൈല് അത്ര വലിയ മെച്ചമില്ലെങ്കിൽ.
അല്ല, അത് സ്മാർട്ട് ചാർജിങ് എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞിട്ടുണ്ടെങ്കിൽ നമുക്ക് ഈ ഈ എസെൻഷ്യൽ കമ്മ്യൂണിക്കേഷൻ ഇൻഫ്രാസ്ട്രക്ചർ വന്നു കഴിഞ്ഞാലേ സ്മാർട്ട് ചാർജിങ് നമുക്ക് ചെയ്യാൻ പറ്റുള്ളൂ. ബിക്കോസ് അത് ഇറ്റ്സ് എ പ്രയറി കണ്ടീഷൻ.
അതിനെ സാർ, അതായത് ഇപ്പൊ ഇപ്പോ കാർ എടുത്തു കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ എല്ലാ ഇവിയിലും ചാർജിങ് കമ്മ്യൂണിക്കേഷൻ മീഡിയ ഉണ്ട്. എല്ലാ വണ്ടിയിലും
ഓക്കെ
ഒരു
ഓക്കെ
സിം കാർഡ് ഉണ്ട്. ആ സിം കാർഡ് വെച്ചിട്ട്
ഓ
നമുക്ക് കൺട്രോൾ ചെയ്യാൻ പറ്റും. ഈ പറഞ്ഞ
ആ
സംഭവം
ആ
ചെയ്യാൻ അധികം ടൈമിന്റെ ആവശ്യമില്ല. ബിക്കോസ് വി ഹാവ് ഇറ്റ് ഇൻ ദ വെഹിക്കിൾ. വി ഹാവ്
ഓക്കെ ഓക്കെ
കൺട്രോളിൽ കുറച്ച്
ഓക്കെ
ലിമിറ്റേഷൻസ് ഉണ്ട് മാത്രം.
ഓക്കെ
പൂർണ്ണമായിട്ട് അതായത് ഇപ്പൊ AC കൺട്രോൾ ചെയ്യാം,
ആ
ലോക്ക് ചെയ്യാം, അൺലോക്ക് ചെയ്യാം. പക്ഷെ ഇങ്ങനെ ഒരു കൺട്രോൾ കൊടുത്തിട്ടില്ല. ആക്ച്വലി ഇറ്റ് ക്യാൻ മോണിറ്റർ ഇറ്റ്. അപ്പോ
അല്ല
കമ്മ്യൂണിക്കേഷൻ ഈസ് നോട്ട്.
മോണിറ്ററിംഗ് ക്യാൻ ബി ഡൺ. കറക്റ്റ്, മോണിറ്ററിംഗ് ക്യാൻ ബി
അപ്പൊ
ഡൺ.
അതുകൊണ്ട്
ബട്ട്
അല്ല,
ദെൻ
അത് വെച്ചിട്ട് നമുക്ക് കൺട്രോൾ ചെയ്യാം. കാരണം ആ കൺട്രോൾ വെച്ചിട്ട് വണ്ടിയുടെ
അല്ല ഹൗ
ആക്ച്വലി
ടു കൺട്രോൾ
BMS കൺട്രോൾ എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞ സംഭവം, നമ്മുടെ ബാറ്ററി മാനേജ്മെന്റ്
ബാറ്ററി
സിസ്റ്റം ഉണ്ട്.
മാനേജ്മെന്റ് സിസ്റ്റം ഉണ്ടോ? അതിനെ
ഉണ്ട്,
കൺട്രോൾ
ഉണ്ട്.
ചെയ്യാമോ?
ബാറ്ററി മാനേജ്മെന്റ് സിസ്റ്റത്തിനെ കൺട്രോൾ ചെയ്യാം. അപ്പൊ അങ്ങനെയാണെന്ന് വെച്ച് കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ
ചാർജിങ് റേറ്റ് ക്യാൻ ബി വേരിഡ്.
യെസ് ഓഫ് കോഴ്സ്. ആക്ച്വലി ഇപ്പോ വോൾട്ടേജ് കുറയാണെന്ന് വിചാരിക്കുക. അവർ ചെയ്യണ BMS ചെയ്യുന്ന ഒരു കാര്യം എന്ന് വെച്ചാൽ, ഇഫ് ദർ ഇസ് എ റിഡക്ഷൻ ഇൻ വോൾട്ടേജ് അല്ലെങ്കിൽ സിസ്റ്റത്തിൽ എന്തെങ്കിലും വേരിയേഷൻസ് ഉണ്ടെങ്കിൽ, അല്ലെങ്കിൽ ഹീറ്റ്, അതായത് നമ്മളിപ്പോ കോൺടാക്ട് ഹീറ്റ് ആവാം, അങ്ങനെയൊക്കെ
അതെ
വരുമ്പോൾ
അതെ
ദേ
അതെ
റെഡ്യൂസ് ദ കറണ്ട്. ഇപ്പോ
ഓക്കെ
3 കിലോവാട്ടിന്റെ ചാർജർ ആണെങ്കിൽ ഇപ്പൊ ഒരു 12-13 ആംപിയർ എടുക്കണത്
ഓക്കെ
ദേ റെഡ്യൂസ് ഇറ്റ്. അങ്ങനെ അവര്
ഓക്കെ
കൺട്രോൾ ചെയ്യുന്നുണ്ട് ഓൾറെഡി. അപ്പോ
ആ
ഈ
ഹാ
ഒരു
ഹാ
ഫെസിലിറ്റി കൊടുത്തു കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ, ആക്ച്വലി ഫ്രീക്വൻസി വെച്ചിട്ടോ അല്ലെങ്കിൽ ഒരു ഏരിയ വൈസ് കൺട്രോൾ ചെയ്യാൻ കൊടുക്കുകയാണെങ്കിൽ, ദ കൺട്രോൾ ക്യാൻ ബി ഡൺ വെരി. നമ്മളിപ്പോ വേറൊരു മീഡിയത്തിനെ ആശ്രയിക്കേണ്ട ആവശ്യമില്ല എന്ന് എനിക്ക് തോന്നുന്നു.
ഓക്കെ 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 ദാറ്റ്സ് നൈസ്.
സോളാറിന്റെ RPO നമ്മൾ അച്ചീവ് ചെയ്തിട്ടുണ്ടോ സാറേ?
കേട്ടില്ലേ?
സോളാർ RPO
ആ ആ
നമ്മുടെ KCB അച്ചീവ് ചെയ്തിട്ടുണ്ടോ സോളാർ RPO?
സോളാർ RPO അച്ചീവ് ചെയ്തിട്ടുണ്ടോ? എത്ര 2.5% ആണോ ഇപ്പം? എനിക്കറിയില്ല. ഹലോ ഹലോ
ചോദ്യം ചോദിച്ചത് ആരാന്ന് മനസ്സിലായില്ലേ സാറേ?
ആരാണെന്ന് മനസ്സിലായില്ല.
ഇങ്ങനെയാണോ?
എന്തോ RPO ഇപ്പോഴത്തെ RPO ലെവൽ എത്രയാണെന്നും അറിയില്ല.
ഓക്കെ സാർ, ഓക്കെ ഓക്കെ
2.5 എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞ ഒരു സ്റ്റാറ്റിസ്റ്റിക്സ് എപ്പോഴോ കണ്ടിരുന്നു. അത് ഇൻക്രീസ് ചെയ്തിട്ടുണ്ടോ എന്നറിയില്ല. അച്ചീവ്മെന്റ് എത്രത്തോളം ഉണ്ടെന്ന് ഈ പറഞ്ഞോണം അഗ്രഗേറ്റ് ചെയ്ത് നോക്കിയാലേ നമുക്ക് അറിയാൻ പറ്റുള്ളൂ. അഗ്രഗേറ്റർ കറക്റ്റ് ആയിട്ട് ഫംഗ്ഷൻ ചെയ്തില്ല എന്നുണ്ടെങ്കിൽ അറിയാനൊക്കത്തില്ല. നമ്മുടെ ആ പിന്നെ എങ്ങാണ്ടൊക്കെ സോളാർ പാർക്സ് ഉണ്ടല്ലോ കാസർഗോഡും, പിന്നെ ഇപ്പം റീസെന്റ് ആയിട്ട് വി ഹാവ് ആൻ NTPC 92 മെഗാവാട്ട്സ് വന്നിട്ടുണ്ട്. ഹലോ 92 പ്ലസ് 50 തന്നെ, അത് തന്നെ ആവും. 92 പ്ലസ് 50 ദാറ്റ് ഈസ് നിയർലി 150 മെഗാവാട്ട്സ് അതാവും.
ഇതേ സോളാറിന്റെ RPM അച്ചീവ് ചെയ്യാൻ മാത്രം സോളാറൊന്നും നമുക്ക് ഇതുവരെ ആയിട്ടില്ല. ഇതിനനുസരിച്ച്
ഇല്ലല്ലേ?
2021-22 സോളാറിന്റെ പെർസെൻറ്റേജ് 6.75% വേണം. നോൺ സോളാർ 10.25% വേണം. രണ്ടും കൂടെ കൂട്ടി 17% വേണം RE.
ഓ ശരി
അപ്പൊ
ശരി
നമ്മൾ
ശരി ശരി
ശരിക്കും പറഞ്ഞാൽ അത് അച്ചീവ് ചെയ്യാൻ മാത്രമുള്ള സോളാറൊന്നും നമുക്ക് ഇപ്പോഴും ആയിട്ടില്ല. നമ്മൾ സാധാരണ
വന്നിട്ടില്ല.
ചെയ്യുന്നത് അതിന് പകരം നമ്മൾ REC എടുക്കാൻ ശ്രമിക്കുകയൊക്കെയാണ്. REC എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ